Let's come back to zoans for a moment.
Yeah.
It seems to encompass all the aspects of your work. You mentioned an initial day or weekend workshop that you give. What would I experience in that?
Well, the morning is an exercises in the morning, exercise morning, I should call it. And it's simply to get people used to the idea of space and how it affects them, and gradually building up a group consciousness, an intuitive awareness as they do this. But by using chairs and people moving their chairs around and also where their positions in the room, they can see how they're affected by other people and by where they are in the room, and they find where they're happy, where they're not happy. Fortunately, we never all want the same place, otherwise there would be a problem.
It certainly would be. It would be very crowded restaurants. I'm one of those people, I have to have my back to a wall. I feel more comfortable that way. I don't like people walking behind me.
Yes.
This is part of what we're talking about.
Yes, that's right. And there are certain areas in rooms, any room somebody goes in, they'll have a position there they prefer to another position. Some positions can feel really nasty and uncomfortable, whereas another person might be okay in it.
In a position in relation to the direction, the cardinal directions.
That all comes into it. You can actually go to an area of a room you're uncomfortable in, but you change your position that you're looking at, and you can feel a bit better. Turn the other way, you feel worse. So the direction can help you modulate your feeling in that place. I first noticed this at Cambridge again, going back to Cambridge, that we had lots of parties there, you know, the usual thing.
Yes.
And rooms were crowded, and you can often get pushed into a corner of the room where you feel really uncomfortable. Well, it happened to me several times, and I found myself talking to someone that I actually knew and liked, but as we talked, we both got irritated because we were uncomfortable. And then I thought, well, this is silly, you know, 'cause put us in a different situation and we're the best of friends. So then I thought, aha, you know, it's that aha thing that comes in. So I started watching other people and where they went, and sure enough, if they were in an uncomfortable position, they got irritated and they projected that onto the person they were talking with, and it wasn't a very nice experience for either of them. And they could go out actually hating each other, in fact. But put them in a different position where they're both comfortable and they can become the best friends. It flourishes. So I realised there's a science in all this, to make sure you're in the best place that you feel comfortable in a room, because then you'll act the best way towards others, which is good for everybody. It's good for everybody, for each person to be in their most comfortable position.
And it's not just for ourselves. Of course, it enhances our own power. I don't mean power in a sort of, you know, megalomaniac sense, but a sense of comfort with ourselves.
Yes, it does. Yes.
And it's the same law, if you like, that you described earlier about landscape temples, about placing a building.
It's placement.
It's placement
It's
within
learning
space.
to be in the right place at the right time, and also doing the right thing, because you know, it depends on your purpose as to where you're going to be comfortable in a position. So if you're a chairperson of a meeting, you're going to be more comfortable in the position that naturally supports being the chairperson. And there are certain laws about that. So that's something I teach in the introductory workshop as well. And then after lunch, we go into building the actual Wheel of Life as a mandala on the floor. Now that's an Eastern word, but I like to use it because it's making like a painting, but the painting has enormous meaning. It's actually representing the Wheel of Life or medicine wheel. So we use various symbols for it. And because I teach the Western tradition that's come out of Europe, the Middle East and Africa, we use the alchemical symbols of earth, water, air and fire. And you position them representing the four quarters of the wheel and learn how those work and so on from that. And then you actually build up a structure of energy, a structure of thought, energy and thought. So it's not just a physical thing, because behind everything physical there's a thought. Behind every thought there's the emotion, which is the energy.
So each person is working on this mandala. Each person is creating the whole.
Yes, we all
And is
do it
part
together.
of the whole.
We do it together, and we also have our individual play in it too. And it's fun. It ends up with something very beautiful and helps to create joy. And then you can use that joy. That joy is an energy of light, and you can use that to answer prayers.
You can use that to answer prayers.
Yes.
Now, please say more about that.
Well, it's the divine grace. You know, what we build is like a receptacle into which this wonderful grace of God, the joy of God, can descend and be in. And then we can make a prayer using that joy, and that goes out wherever we want to send it to, and can be received by the person that we're praying for, or the place in the world that we're praying for. It's essentially what all religion tries to do with its religious ceremonies. But this is one fundamental way of doing it, using the wheel of life.
It reminds me of the Tibetan sand paintings and the prayer that they put in as each monk is creating this sand painting, and the sound they use that moves the sand.
It's the same. They're just using their tradition to do exactly the same thing, really. It's got different names according to the different languages in the world, and different symbols according to which part of the world you're in. So the medicine wheel uses symbols drawn from the Americas, but we use symbols drawn from Europe and the Middle East.